Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
Luke, joined here for the second or third year in a row at Autodesk University, Loren Welch.
Second year.
Second year?
Is that it?
Yeah, I remember you bumped me 3 years ago.
Oh, we did. We had him on and then we booted him because he wasn't good enough for us. I'm sorry about that. It happens. All right, so moving on to our always fun ice-breaking game. I think you did pretty well on the How Well Do You Know Your CEO last year. I mean, pretty well.
I held my own.
You held your own. We have a little bit of Autodesk trivia this year.
And don't
no
cheat and look
looking
at
at
the
my
screen.
screen.
No cheating.
Warning, Andrew did pretty well. Lisa did pretty well. So let's see how you do this year.
No pressure, though.
No
None.
pressure, right. Who is considered to be the founder of Autodesk, along with roughly 17 of his closest friends?
Walker.
Very good.
Good. What was Autodesk originally named?
I feel like I really should know this. It's something about it's like the county. So it's
We'll
Marin.
give it to you. Marin Software Partners. We'll give that to
I'm
you.
extremely impressed by you right now.
I don't
Wow.
even think Andrew knew that one.
I can't remember. He might have. What were the project names of AutoCAD 9, 10, and 11? That's the look I've gotten from everyone.
So first of all, just to clarify, even on the Inventor product team, people will mention like, oh, R5 was Crossfire, and I'm like, okay,
Sounds
like,
good.
So people know Rubicon because it was the first one, and they know like the later ones.
You're totally stealing our thunder here with our questions.
But I don't know other product team code names. Like that's a really tough one. Is it so? Most teams do themes. Like for a while,
They are themed.
so like
Three.
for a long time, Inventor was all automotive, like
It
car
was.
themes, and now we switched to like Inventors, things like that. So can you give me like what AutoCAD's themes are?
Music albums.
And what releases are we talking?
9, 10, and 11.
Were those really good releases? I don't know.
I don't know. I was like 7 at the time.
So 3. What's a band that had like a trio of solid albums?
And this is an older band.
I feel like we're really helping him.
Okay,
Let's
yeah,
go with
So
this.
the Stones.
The Beatles.
Oh, the Beatles.
White Album, Abbey Road, and Let It Be.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What company was acquired where the then future CEO of Autodesk, Carl Bass, worked?
That's another like town one as well. It was Buzzsaw Ithaca.
There.
Wow. It's good. All right. You ruined this one.
You did.
The project name under which Inventor launched.
If I didn't know that one, you should fire me.
I agree. Okay, let's move on to the next one then. What is the most popular STEM podcast run by Autodesk employees?
I feel like I should know this
I
one.
hope so.
It'd be you guys.
Punch him right in
that's
the
wonderful.
neck if he doesn't
That's
get
right.
that correct.
Okay, moving on to the lightning round. Real quick, all about product acquisitions. Company acquisitions?
Yeah.
Okay.
What building technology company was acquired in 2002?
2002 Revit.
Good.
What was acquired in 2006 with the FBX file format?
FBX. So that 2006. FBX came out of Maya, but Alias was that whole bunch of products.
You were the only one
First
that got this
person to
correct.
get that.
I used to work for a reseller of Alias
Okay.
way back when.
Okay.
Often considered the greatest acquisition of all time by
Not-
Autodesk, what simulation product was acquired in December of 2008?
You don't say it if you don't want to.
No, it's Al Gore, but
Oh,
the fact
that's
that
right.
you say like the greatest of all time just because you came from there.
I mean, that has to move it up a little bit on the list.
In 2011, what website and platform where users can share ideas and post DIY projects?
Instructables.
Very good.
What giant acquisition went down in 2014 of a UK-based CAD CAM company?
Delcam.
You might be winning.
You did. You
You are up
definitely-
there.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We're done? We're done?
No.
We're done.
Now
So-
that comes the hard-hitting
Yeah,
questions.
now the actual questions. But in honor of the great work that you've been doing, I actually brought a special present for you to reward you and to thank you for joining the show.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
What is this?
This is often searched for. I found it specifically for you. It is an Autodesk Inventor orange tote bag.
We've been trying to get rid of these for like 3 AUs in a row, and every year we keep bringing it back. So
I love it. You're welcome.
I'll treasure it always.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we said this is your second AU because we kicked you to the curb
So 12th AU, second
with
A
us,
with
the one
you
that
guys.
matters because you're doing this.
Okay. Okay.
You'd think by this point we'd actually know what a product manager does, but what would you say you do here?
honestly, the biggest thing that we do from a product management standpoint is understanding customer needs, market needs, and really aligning with company strategy. So it's about prioritization, it's about engaging with customers, doing research on the market, and just making sure that we're working in all those areas and understanding those perspectives when we look at where we want to invest, what we want to develop in. The short answer is, the Office Space reference, right? Talk to the customers so the engineers don't have to, but it's about prioritization, knowing what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and really trying to drive execution with the development team.
I'm sure I did a bad job of this, but you're actually a senior product manager for Inventor, in
Yes.
case we hadn't made that clear before.
Yes, and you guys have specific roles too, because there's multiple product managers that work on that Inventor team. What is your specific role, and then what are some of the other ones that happen there?
So my specific role is I manage the product line.
Okay.
So what I do now is I work on roadmap, product strategy, alignment with BSM. I work closely with the sales organization.
This is core Inventor too, by the way, right?
Yeah, just core Inventor.
So if anybody wants to track you down, beat you with a wet towel,
or
Wow.
maybe a nice handshake.
or
Maybe
thank
say
you.
something
or,
nice,
or
right.
say thank you for making amazing software.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah, take your choice.
Okay.
But no, so a lot of what I'm doing, we break up the team on both initiatives that people are working on and also engagement with other parts of Autodesk. So I work a lot with our business strategy and marketing team. So I work with the BSM group quite a bit just to make sure we're aligned and tightly focused there. And then I also work specifically with customer and sales engagement for Europe. So like Garen Gardner, he handles a lot of the collections workflows.
Okay.
So obviously Inventor is kind of the core part of the collection. He works with a lot of the other product teams on how Inventor works with the other products within the collection.
Gotcha.
Garen also handles the North American sales and customer engagement. Then he also has relationships, obviously, with a lot of the Fusion organization as well on how we bridge those gaps.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we have other product managers like David Reum. He works a lot with like the factory product, specifically the factory design utilities that are part of the collection, but kind of a niche group of customers and
Gotcha.
requirements. And he handles a lot of the automation and the work we're doing on Forge as well.
Okay. So you mentioned customers before, and you spend a ton of time engaging with them here, getting that feedback that you're looking for. Could you share maybe a cool customer that's here that you're either talking with or you're planning on talking with? Just give an idea of the kind of people that you're out there talking with.
So, I mean, they're all cool customers if
That's
they're
right.
using Inventor.
Well, that's
they're
right.
all
Pick one if you had to.
I wouldn't say I don't know. I'll dodge and answer your question at the same
Okay.
time.
Thanks.
I figured
we
you would
expect
do that
nothing
anyways.
less.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that we get asked a lot from a customer is, do we have to be a huge customer to be impactful?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the sessions that we do, it's anywhere from 1 license to 10 license, 20 up to the customers that have thousands of licenses globally. And honestly, when we look at these things, the customers do carry a lot of the same weight. Obviously, if you're representing 5,000 users as a big organization, that really helps us quantify impact for your organization. But when we get 10 customers that all have 20 licenses, you're saying, all right, this impact could be just as broad
Yeah.
and impactful. So I think the biggest thing I would say is we try to talk to customers across the board, regardless of size and industry. We look more at the workflows they're trying to accomplish, and there's a lot of really cool things that customers are trying to do with Inventor that some of them were like, we anticipated this is how they would use this functionality or process, and there's some things like we had no clue you would try to do it that way.
Gotcha.
That has to be fun, though. Oh, didn't think about that. So much like Luke, Inventor keeps getting better with age. That was a compliment.
Oh, I see.
It was good.
I see what you
What are
did
some
there.
of the big improvements that have shown up in Inventor over the past year or so?
So I think the biggest one that is just right in everybody's face is kind of the modern architecture and the visual refresh. With 2020, it was kind of you couldn't avoid it because we refreshed the whole interface.
Gotcha.
And again, it's not just an Inventor project. If you look at some of the other teams, we have internal design standards all the product teams are trying to follow now, and AutoCAD kind of led the way with that. And refreshing their icons, just the visual flow. And we're moving to this modern architecture for our commands. So rather than the old dialogues, we have these new panels on a modern architecture, which give users advanced productivity just by the way the tool is laid out. So we tested it with a few commands that were highly used with very low satisfaction.
Like the whole command's a perfect example
Yep.
of a switchover to
Right.
this new panel.
Yep, whole command and measure were the first two kind of prototypes. And if you look at them, I explained this in my class earlier today. We went after measure first because it was a top 5 used command and everybody hated it. So it was one of those where like, I've got to use the measure command, but I really don't want to press this button.
Gotcha.
And actually there was 4 buttons for measure, which was another issue. So when we moved that to the modern architecture, we saw the usage didn't necessarily go up. The command didn't get used more, but people enjoyed it a lot more.
Or they were in it less because it was fewer picks and clicks and less mouse movements, that sort of stuff.
Exactly. So we were able to really quantify that. And the whole command, the same thing. We could take, with a new whole command, a brand new Inventor user is more proficient than an experienced Inventor user on the old command.
Gotcha.
So that type of productivity
Wow.
that we're trying to deliver to customers, to me, we're not just repainting the barn,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that would just make people mad.
Yeah.
If we're not providing value in this new modern architecture and how the commands work, then it's a big miss. And so we've done a lot of research, looking at a lot of analytics and insights, and that's how we're laying this out. And it's just going to continue to get better and more efficient. And just even if users don't use any new commands, just the same commands they've been using, those commands should be faster, easier, and more productive.
Gotcha. So is there anything right now you'd say that's on the horizon that you're allowed to share, maybe stuff that's been like in the beta and some of the community stuff that is like right on the cusp of kind of happening that you're allowed to share?
So not really anything I'm allowed to share,
Oh.
but I will say
But he's willing to do so
Yeah.
for us.
So, so one of the things that is really interesting. So, I will share the things I can because yesterday I just published the Inventor Public Roadmap.
Okay.
So, it's something our users have been asking for a while. We've been talking quite a bit with our legal team about what we can and can't do.
Okay.
Right, but we had a really good template from what the Revit and 3ds Max and Fusion teams are doing. So it gave us a really good entryway to what we can share with customers that we're working on.
Gotcha.
So the few things that come to mind are, we're doing a lot of talking about the modern architecture. We released 2020. People really, the satisfaction and the feedback has been great, but now everybody wants a dark theme.
Yep.
Right, and so that is something that we're working very hard on.
It's like hashtag dark theme. Like everybody seems to be doing that.
Yeah.
I've seen a few things in the beta, like people that are playing around with it are like, I need this now. So it's amazing that just something as simple as a UI color change
Yep.
takes that satisfaction of using a product to, like, why would that make such a difference? Any thoughts on that?
So, I think a lot of it is just what people prefer. I asked the room today in our class, full class, great Inventor users, and about half the room said, yeah, we would use that tomorrow if we had it. And so we have rolled it out on the feedback community so users can test it, run it through the paces. But one of the things that we looked at is, so when all the feedback came, like, oh, we want a dark theme. I'm like, let me start trying dark themes in other products. And there's some really cool things that other software companies have done. And there's ones that you can tell they just said, we want a checkbox that says dark theme. And we didn't want to fall in that bucket. And so we're trying to make sure we do it in a way that users can provide feedback on anything we might have missed, but really make it a good experience, right? Like one of the ones that I really like is on Microsoft Office. I was in PowerPoint. I'm like, oh, I'll switch the theme.
There's a dark theme?
Oh, and then I opened it. So I set it in PowerPoint. I opened up Excel, and it had automatically switched to the new
Oh,
theme.
so
I
that
see.
experience carries across their product line.
Which now, to me, I'm like, well, if I'm, 47% of Inventor users use AutoCAD too.
Yeah.
So if I'm in AutoCAD and I'm running that dark blue theme, I would really want that in Inventor. So once I start, we start talking to customers and understanding about the continuity and things like that, then I totally get it. But
Yeah.
at first I was like, we've never had a dark theme. It's not
Yeah.
like we didn't take anything away,
Okay.
So trying to understand that customer perspective, sometimes you kind of got to remove your own biases and opinions, which
Yeah.
is fairly difficult sometimes. But
Sounds like you'll have to change your tech marketing standards if you're going to a dark theme.
We'll see.
Have fun making those new videos.
Oh my goodness.
we're going to make you redo every video
Every
again.
video.
I'm going to murder you guys.
So, again is the key word. So you just mentioned that, 47% of Inventor users are also AutoCAD users. And that kind of moves nicely into the big push that we've had recently for collections. So Inventor is part of, and as you said, kind of the center of the product design and manufacturing collection that's available. Other products like Fusion are in there, lesser known AutoCAD, things like that. But then there's all sorts of other things like the factory design utility and just all sorts of other tools that really kind of circle around Inventor and tie together. Can you give us a little rundown of how all of those play with Inventor, as well as how do people then kind of navigate a workflow between all of these major pieces, the Inventor, Fusion, AutoCADs up at the collection?
Yeah, I mean, the real goal was to find ways that we could provide a lot of value for our customers based on products they use together, especially as we look at industries and customer segments. So, if you look at Inventor users, obviously they also use AutoCAD, whether it's for maintaining drawings they've had for decades, or as part of initial design processes and workflows. The other thing that we looked at is where does data go as it comes into Inventor, where does it go when it goes out? And so that's when we initially did the collection. It was like, okay, the factory design utilities are a part of that, because it's how data flows for the layout projects between AutoCAD, Inventor, and Navisworks. So we wanted to make sure we included all that, and it was kind of a good formula of looking at that workflow of, is there any other workflows we can do? And so we understand there's things we just need to put in Inventor fundamentally. So with any CAD, we have this capability with AutoCAD to do the DWG underlays and that associative thing back to the 2D. And we've done the same with Fusion. So Fusion and Inventor have the AnyCAD, and they're associative with each other. So I can natively bring in a Fusion file. Fusion can natively bring in an Inventor file, and it's associative as if it was kind of built native. So those are the things that we're finding are really important. The other things that we've added in recent years have really been about, can we keep the Inventor user inside of Inventor and not have them jump in between tools if it's a critical part of the workflow? So that's when you have Inventor CAM, Inventor nesting, Inventor tolerance analysis, the Inventor Nastran. So you're working in those different environments, if you will, but it's all inside of Inventor. So it's really about how can we have the Inventor user do more with this data based on a tool set that we can provide with Inventor.
Does it make you feel good that they put Inventor in front of all of these other ones as well?
Honestly,
Or are you not that petty? See, it would make me happy.
I don't know if it makes me happy or sad. What it helps me do, though, is it helps customers when they're in their account portal. If it says Inventor in front of it, they're like, oh, that probably works in Inventor. And
Right.
and it helps them
gotcha.
drive, downloading
See,
it,
we
installing
have,
it.
We have a smart customer base where they figure it out. If it has Inventor, it probably works there. I like it.
So Fusion has this fancy tool called, what is it?
I can't remember. Someone mentioned it.
Is it Generative Design? So there's
I've heard it mentioned before.
maybe once or twice. So there's this announcement we just heard that you can run as many generative design studies and download for like the next 30 days, basically till the end of the year. And Fusion's inside the collection. And I think the idea is to get Inventor users to run that first generative design study and just check out that technology. What's your advice to that person that's never touched Fusion, that's never done generative, but they're thinking about maybe dabbling? Like why should they try generative coming from an Inventor background? What's your suggestion?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you're going to probably be really surprised and delighted with what comes out of it. When you talk about generative, in my mind, it's we talk about CAD, computer-aided design, and let's face it, it's engineers are coming up with ideas and they're documenting it. Right now, it's computer-aided documentation.
Yep.
Generative is the computer-aided design. It's helping you make a design that you wouldn't think of by yourself. And so, when you're trying to solve tough design problems, there's a lot of things that engineers just do as old tricks. They're going to put pockets in to reduce weight. They're going to try different materials. They're even going to do topology optimization to reduce mass. But that's not generative design. And so if you've used Shape Generator inside of Inventor, right, that's going to give you topology optimization with a little bit of manufacturing constraints, right? But that's really, that technology is something that simulation tools have had for a while.
Right.
Where Shape Generator and Inventor is awesome is that it's all inside of the design tool, which is new. But when you move that to generative, that's the next level where it's actually a functional representation. So in my mind, if you're an Inventor user, you've got access to Fusion. You've got access now to generative on a free basis. It's really a great time to go in and explore what it can do. Because I think one of the barriers was people wanted to try generative, but they're like, if I'm just kicking the tire, should I be paying for that?
Yeah.
Right? And so this opportunity for our Inventor and our collections customers to be able to do this in generative, to me, is just, it's awesome. And I think they might find a lot of things they wouldn't even have thought about from a design perspective that even when it's over, hopefully they keep using Generative, or if nothing else, might change the way they think about design.
Gotcha.
So I saw in your badge earlier that you have been using Inventor for 12 years, and you also have years of experience with a bunch of other software packages that we won't mention here. If we had a little design slam right now between you and Inventor Luke, who would win?
I think Inventor Luke might win if it was like a cube. If it was something more complicated,
Oh, come on now.
No, I honestly.
Good answer.
Honestly,
If you want any videos or pictures for anything you ever want again, think about what you say next.
yeah, no. Honestly, I don't spend as much time running Inventor as I would like to anymore, which is kind of a dorky thing to say.
Yeah,
I actually like using it, especially now, kind of seeing what goes into putting something into the tool. During the development process, I love getting the update patches from the development team and testing stuff out and doing workflows. I'll say I'm not as fast and as shiny as I used to be with it.
Okay.
But I do. I still do enjoy using it. I use it at home. I have a 3-axis machine in the garage, and so I do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I do use Inventor to design that stuff with my kids, and actually I'm too lazy to carry my computer out into the shop, so my Mac is in the shop and that runs Fusion, so I do run AnyCAD as well.
Nice.
I'd run AnyCAD to get that stuff over there.
I like that it's just laziness. He's like, it's just not going to carry that laptop.
So I think the net answer to this question is I would win.
That's what I heard.
It'd be like a roundhouse to the side of the head, kind of.
It wouldn't be a Chuck Norris win, but you would probably win.
So we're running out of time here because we have some more guests that are not as important as you, but that we still have to talk to. But we did see that there was a big announcement just the other day about ANSYS partnering up with Fusion 360 for some cool interop, especially about bringing that generative design over to ANSYS Mechanical to do some advanced FEA on it. Is there anything headed our way from either Inventor having a partnership like that, or something that you could speak to, again, about that workflow that Inventor users that are also ANSYS users could still take advantage of?
Well, I think the biggest thing for us is, it's really exciting to see Fusion have this partnership with ANSYS and with Autodesk, really, right? And so from our perspective, what it enables for our Inventor users is just what we talked about with Generative, right? We want our users to leverage Fusion 360 and all of its capabilities for advanced manufacturing and things like that, where it's going to bring them a lot of benefit. And I think this is a great area where they can do that. Leveraging cloud computing and ANSYS technology for some of these solves is great. What I also love is we have Nastran on the desktop, right? And they're able to do a ton of this within the collection. But if they want to leverage some of the generative in conjunction with what Fusion has with the ANSYS partnership, it's a great way to start testing that workflow of how can Inventor and Fusion work together for some of these advanced manufacturing and simulation workflows.
I think the interesting thing, the gentleman from ANSYS, Sin Min, had mentioned that this idea of having silos with competitors, it doesn't really, those are kind of going away. It's let's give you the best tool for what you're trying to do. If you need, advanced physics that only ANSYS has and mechanical, then use that. If not, then you could use the simulation inside of Fusion. Or if you're an Inventor user, you can be, and you have the collection, you could be using Nastran as well. So I think it just gives our users a lot more options to pick the right tool for whatever they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's really about flexibility. We definitely don't want to make it overwhelming for customers, but honestly, giving them options and directions to go, to me, is the healthy way to do this.
Okay.
Loren, thanks a lot for joining us again this year. Hopefully we have you on again next year.
Unless we bump them.
Unless we find someone more important.
Yeah, I always enjoy the time with you fellas, but again, thank you for the opportunity. I'll be very thankful to not get bummed in the future.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.